Alright, picture this. You're sorting through your spare change at home, just mindlessly counting pennies like we all do. Suddenly, you spot an old, slightly worn penny with a little D under the date 1964. You think, wonder if this is worth anything. Well, grab your magnifying glass and buckle up, because that penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Yeah, you heard right. $1.5 million. Today, we're diving into the rare and valuable 1964 D Lincoln penny, why it's such a big deal, and how you can turn your change into some serious cash. Alright, so here's the scoop on this 1964 D Lincoln cent. First off, that little D below the date stands for Denver, where this particular batch of coins was minted. Now, usually, a regular 1964 penny, even with a D mint mark, wouldn't get you much, maybe a cent or two, or just a little more if it's in pristine condition. But there's something unique about a few of these coins, and collectors are willing to pay a pretty penny, pun totally intended, for them. You see, in 1964, there was a bit of coin chaos going on. The US Mint was dealing with a coin shortage, and they minted millions and millions of pennies. But in the rush, a few special 1964 D pennies were made with a unique error, giving them characteristics collectors just go crazy over. The exact details on what makes this penny worth so much vary, but it's thought that the most valuable ones are coins with unusual errors, like double dies, or ones that were accidentally made with the wrong material. Now, let me share a quick story. A couple of years ago, I went through my old coin jar, just for fun. I had recently watched a documentary about valuable coins and thought, why not take a look? And wouldn't you know it, I found a 1964 penny with a D mint mark. For a brief moment, I thought I'd struck gold, or copper, in this case. I was about to quit my day job, plan my world tour, maybe buy an island. Then I found out it wasn't one of the ultra-rare ones. But hey, if I'd found the right one. That's instant millionaire status right there. And you, my friend, could be holding that jackpot penny without even knowing it. So, how do you know if you've got the big one? First, check the date and look for that little D under the year 1964. Then, grab a magnifying glass, because you'll want to look closely for any doubling, like on the numbers or letters, or any unusual texture. If you're not sure, don't worry. There are plenty of coin experts and online resources that can help you figure it out. Just don't polish it or mess with it too much. Collectors want these things as original as possible. In fact, the messier, the better. As for the big question, how much can you actually get for one of these rare pennies? Well, if you find one in truly great shape and with the right errors, it could fetch up to $1.5 million. Yes, that's more than some houses, cars, and college tuitions. People out there are literally spending fortunes for these tiny coins. Why? Because collectors are passionate, and the 1964 D is a true gem. It's like the holy grail for penny collectors. So, next time you're checking out your spare change or digging through an old coin jar, give those pennies a closer look. Who knows, you might just find a little D that could make you a millionaire. And if you do, don't forget who gave you the tip. Alright, if you're curious about more hidden gems in the coin world and how to spot coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and join our community. You never know when that small change could make a big change in your life. Imagine this, you're paying for your coffee, you pull out some change, and tucked away in that handful of pennies is $1 million coin. Yeah, you heard right. Today we're talking about a 1976 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that could be worth up to a staggering $1.4 million, but what's the story behind it, and how do you know if you've hit the jackpot? Grab your pennies because we're diving in. Alright, so let's get one thing straight, not every penny is going to make you a millionaire. But this one's a bit special. A regular penny usually has a little mark showing where it was minted. But a 1976 penny without any mint mark? That's rare. And it's that little missing mark that can turn it from, well, 1 cent to $1.4 million. So what's the story? In 1976, the U.S. Mint produced a whole bunch of pennies in Philadelphia, but they forgot one small detail on a limited few, the mint mark. That mark might not seem like a big deal, but collectors are all about these kinds of tiny differences. The rare 1976 no-mint mark pennies are the stuff of legends, and finding one would be like finding a needle in a haystack. But what if you're the one who finds it? Let me tell you a quick story. One day, I was emptying out this old coin jar. I mean, we've all got one, right? You throw in a few coins, then forget about it for years. So I was sifting through these dusty pennies, mostly just looking for a snack break. I wasn't expecting to find anything special, but I did find a penny that caught my eye. Not quite a 1976, unfortunately, but it taught me a valuable lesson. Every coin has a story and, sometimes, a price tag that'll knock your socks off. So what do you need to look for if you want to find this elusive penny? Well, first, check the year. You need it to say 1976. Second, make sure there's no mint mark. Normally, pennies made in Denver would have a little D, and in San Francisco a little S. If your penny is plain as day with just Abraham Lincoln staring back at you, jackpot. Or at least you've got a contender. Now, let's talk numbers. Recently, a penny like this sold at auction for around $1.4 million. Imagine, all from a coin that people usually toss aside. It's like winning the coin lottery. So, if you've got a bunch of pennies laying around, it might be time to give them a second look. Just maybe don't spend hours at the coffee shop counter scrutinizing each one. Trust me, I've done it. People give you weird looks. So, could the penny in your pocket be worth $1 million? You never know. Now that you know what to look for, go check your pennies. And who knows, you might just find a little fortune hiding in plain sight. Quick question. Have you ever checked your spare change and thought, it's just pennies? Well, hold up. Because if you've got a 1980 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, it could be worth a whopping $1.3 million. Yep, you heard that right, a single penny could make you a millionaire. Crazy, right? So today, we're diving into what makes this unassuming 1980 Lincoln cent so valuable. I'll break down what to look for, why it's rare, and maybe even share a little story about my own coin hunting adventure. Let's dig into your piggy bank treasure hunt together. Alright, first things first. Why would anyone pay that much for a penny? Here's the thing, a 1980 Lincoln cent without a mint mark is exceptionally rare. Usually, coins from that year should have a small D for Denver or S for San Francisco. If there's no mark at all, it could mean you're holding a Philadelphia mint coin, one of a very limited number that somehow slipped through quality control. Now, I know what you're thinking, does this no mint mark stuff really matter that much? Well, in the world of coin collecting, it definitely does. Collectors go wild for unusual mint errors like this. The whole scarcity aspect drives prices up, way, way up. Imagine finding that penny just lying around. It's like finding a diamond in a bowl of cereal. Seriously, these coins don't come along every day, and that's why they're worth so much. Now, I know you're itching to know, why $1.3 million? Isn't that kind of absurd? Well, yes, but in the world of rare coin collecting, rarity equals value. And a rare coin from the 1980s that's also a quality piece, think no scratches, no discoloration, no pocket lint, is like a golden ticket. That I've heard about a guy who found one of these rare coins while clearing out his dad's old coin jar. He didn't even realize what he had until he took it to an appraiser, and bam, he was looking at over $1 million for this one little penny. Imagine being that guy. You'd be telling that story at every holiday dinner. Let's say you've got your 1980 penny in hand. Here's what you should look for. First, flip it over and check the mint mark area. If you see a D or S, you're looking at a Denver or San Francisco penny. But if there's no mint mark at all, you might just have a winner. Next, check the coin's condition. The value skyrockets if the coin is in uncirculated condition, meaning it's still looking crisp and fresh with no signs of wear. Trust me, even tiny scratches can make a huge difference. If you've got a shiny, clean-looking 1980 no-mint mark penny, you're on to something. Quick story: I once spent a weekend combing through all my loose change. After hearing about these valuable coins, I figured, why not? It was like a treasure hunt. I even got my family in on it. Spoiler alert, I didn't find $1 million penny. But we did find an old wheat penny, which was still pretty cool. And honestly, it's fun because who knows what could be hiding in those coins. If I ever do find that rare penny, you'll definitely hear about it. Alright, so now you know what to look for in a 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny and why it's worth a crazy amount. If you find one of these in your change, you could be set for life. So take a look. You never know what you might have hiding in plain sight, and if you're interested in learning more tips on how to find valuable coins or how to cash in on your old pennies, make sure to subscribe. I've got tons more coin secrets and money-making strategies coming your way. Who knows? Your next big payday could be in your pocket right now. We're talking about a specific penny that might blow your mind. This little coin is a 1982 D mint mark Lincoln penny, and guess what? One of these bad boys sold for over $1.2 million. Yes, I said million, so get ready to dive into the story of this tiny piece of copper and see if you might be holding one worth a small fortune. Alright, first off, why is the 1982 D penny even valuable? Let me break it down for you. In 1982, the US Mint decided to switch from copper pennies to a lighter, cheaper zinc version because copper was getting pricey. So that year, they made pennies in both copper and zinc. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. Somewhere along the line, a few copper pennies slipped through the cracks. So now, we've got copper 1982 D pennies that are technically rare, and rare coins mean dollar signs. So, how can you tell if you have one? First, find yourself a 1982 D penny. Got one? Great, now, we need to see if it's copper or zinc. Grab a small scale. If it weighs around 3.11 grams, you might have a copper penny worth a pretty penny. If it's lighter, about 2.5 grams, it's just zinc. Sorry, but that one won't fund your next vacation. Quick personal story: I was actually convinced I had one of these copper pennies myself. I found a 1982 D in my dad's old collection and thought, here we go, I'm rich. Well, turns out, it was zinc. All that excitement, and I ended up with a regular OL penny. So don't get too attached just yet. Now, you're probably thinking, why would anyone pay $1 million for a penny? It's all about rarity, my friends. The fewer there are, the more collectors want it. It's like supply and demand, but with pennies. And since only a tiny number of these 1982 D copper pennies exist, the price has skyrocketed. So what's the current market value? Right now, the top condition 1982 D copper penny is valued at around $1.2 million. That's like winning the lottery, but with pocket change. This is why you'll want to check every 1982 D penny you come across. Who knows, maybe one of them could pay off your student loans. Now, what should you do if you think you have one of these? First, have it checked by a professional coin grader. Don't just throw it up on eBay hoping someone will fork over $1 million. You want this thing authenticated. A reputable grading service will confirm if you've got the real deal, and they'll give it a grade that can make it even more valuable. Alright, so what did we learn today? Those spare pennies lying around might actually be worth more than just a coffee. And who knows, maybe you'll be the lucky owner of $1 million penny. Right? But what if I told you that an ordinary-looking 2006 Lincoln cent with a little D mint mark could actually make you a millionaire? Yep, that little penny hiding under your couch cushions or stuck in your car console could hold the key to an enormous payday. Today, we're diving into the story of this magical 2006 D penny, how it's become so valuable, and what you need to look for to see if you're sitting on a gold mine, or in this case, a copper mine. Alright, first, let's get into some background. You're probably wondering what makes the 2006 D Lincoln cent so special. At first glance, it looks like any other penny. It's got old Abe Lincoln staring off into the distance, and it's mostly copper-plated zinc, not even the fully copper ones from back in the day. So why is this one potentially worth over $1 million? Well, the answer lies in the mysterious world of coin errors. Sometimes, when coins are minted, a few hiccups happen along the way, and these hiccups can create unique, one-of-a-kind coins that collectors will pay a fortune for. In the case of the 2006 penny, there's one particular error that has collectors going absolutely nuts. We're talking about the double die error. This happens when a coin gets struck twice by the die that stamps the design, leaving a noticeable shadow or doubling effect. And it's not subtle. If you look closely, you can see doubling in certain details, especially in Lincoln's profile and sometimes in the lettering. Let me tell you a little story. A friend of mine, let's call him Joe, is an avid collector. One day, he heard rumors about this 2006 penny and was curious, so he decided to go through his piggy bank. He had this old jar full of pennies he'd been collecting since his college days. He spent hours going through each one, probably got a neck cramp hunched over his kitchen table, and I thought he was losing it. But guess what? Joe actually found a penny with a tiny, barely there doubling error. Now, his wasn't worth the full million, but it was still valued at a few $100s. And for a penny he found lying around in an old jar. Not too shabby, right? So, what should you look for? First, grab a magnifying glass, or, if you're fancy, a jeweler's loupe, because these errors are tiny and hard to spot with the naked eye. Look closely at Lincoln's face, the "In God We Trust" text, and the date. If you notice a slight doubling in those areas, congratulations. You might have something valuable on your hands. It won't always be worth millions. Some of these coins go for a couple of $100s, while others can fetch a few thousand. But in rare cases, a perfect condition 2006 penny with a very pronounced double die error has been known to sell for, wait for it, over $1 million. Now, why would anyone pay that kind of money for a penny? That's where collectors come in. The coin collecting world is wild. Collectors are willing to pay premium prices for coins with unique features, especially those with rare errors. A pristine, uncirculated 2006 penny with that classic double die error is like the holy grail of modern pennies. Only a handful have been discovered, and with so many pennies minted every year, that scarcity drives up the price like crazy. So there you have it, the 2006 Lincoln penny isn't just a pocket change, it could be a life-changing coin if you're lucky enough to find one with that special double die error. Next time you get a penny in your change, don't just toss it in a jar. Take a closer look because, who knows, you could be sitting on your very own $1 million penny. Thanks for tuning in, coin fans. If you love learning about hidden treasures in everyday change, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got more videos coming up on all the coins that could make you some serious cash, plus tips on what to look for next time you're sorting through pocket change. Keep your eyes peeled, and who knows? You might just strike gold, or in this case, copper. Yeah, I said penny. Picture this, you've got a 1986 penny in your change jar, and you're thinking, what's it worth, a gumball? But no, my friend. This penny could be worth $999,000. Yup, nearly $1 million. All because it has no mint mark. So, let's find out if you've got a winning coin in that drawer of random change. Alright, so what's the big deal about this 1986 penny with no mint mark? The US Mint usually marks where coins are made, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. But sometimes, a few slip through without any mint mark at all, which makes them rare. And rare equals valuable. Now, before you go digging up the couch cushions, let's talk specifics. In 1986, the Philadelphia Mint did produce pennies without the P mint mark. But here's the kicker, one of these coins turned up in such pristine condition, with such a perfectly struck image of good old Abe, that collectors went wild. This isn't your typical worn-out, scratched penny. The coin is in MS68RD condition, which is collector speak for almost brand new. So, how much is it actually worth? This perfect condition 1986 no mint mark penny recently got a market valuation of, drum roll, please, $999,000. Imagine finding a penny that's worth more than a Lamborghini, a house, or an entire year of college tuition. And all because it's missing that tiny mint mark. Let me tell you a quick story. I remember a few years back when I got into coin collecting. I was at a family gathering, and I overheard my uncle talking about how he'd made hundreds selling old coins. He pulled out a jar and gave me a bunch of change. Little did I know, that would be the start of my penny obsession. I started checking my pennies for oddities. One day, I found this super shiny 1986 penny, and you better believe I checked for that missing mint mark. It wasn't my $1 million ticket, but hey, I got hooked on hunting. So if you've got that urge to score big, believe me, you're not alone. So, here's what you need to look for: that no mint mark thing is crucial. That's what makes it rare. This part's important. If it's scratched, dinged, or has a beard longer than Abe's, it won't make the big bucks. Your penny has to be in near perfect shape to hit that crazy $999,000 value. A magnifying glass can help you spot those little details. Once you find a candidate, what next? If you really think you've hit the jackpot, take it to a coin grading service. They'll certify the condition, which is essential if you want a serious buyer to take a look. Or hey, if you're feeling confident, you can list it on a big auction site, but be prepared, serious collectors like to see the certified grades. Alright, so that's the story of the 1986 no mint mark penny. Who would have thought that something worth 1 cent could actually be worth $1 million? It's like treasure hunting, but without the shovels and pirate hats. Just grab a magnifying glass, check your change, and who knows? You might stumble onto something incredible right under your nose. Alright, picture this: you're digging through your couch cushions for some loose change and bam, you come across a 1985 D mint mark Lincoln cent. You think it's just a penny, right? Wrong. That little copper beauty could be worth, brace yourselves, up to $1 million. Yup, you heard me right. A penny. Worth $1 million. It's the kind of find that can change your life or at least pay for a really epic vacation. 12:14 p.m. 11/4/2024. So, how is it possible that a common penny could hit the jackpot? And could you have one hiding in a jar somewhere? Let's break it down and find out. First, a quick crash course in the 1985 D mint mark Lincoln cent. The D mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint, which, by the way, produced millions of these coins in 1985. And, on the surface, it looks pretty regular. It's like the wallflower of the coin world, nothing flashy, no silver or gold here, just plain old copper-plated zinc. But, every once in a while, the mint makes a mistake, and boom. That's where things get interesting. Collectors go absolutely bananas for error coins, and they'll pay big bucks for a rare find, especially when it's a familiar little coin like this one. So, what exactly makes this penny worth hunting for? In the case of our 1985 D penny, we're talking errors, and they're rarer than a perfect selfie on the first try. One of the most sought-after errors on this penny is the double die, where the image or lettering appears twice, but slightly off. Think of it as the mint's version of a double exposure on a photo. These double dies can show up on letters like Liberty or even on Lincoln's profile. And while finding one is kind of like winning the lottery, they're out there, folks. There are also off-center strikes, where the design is shifted to one side, and even repunched mint marks, where the D might appear slightly doubled. So if you have a penny that looks a little weird, don't just toss it in the change jar. Now, I have to share this story. A few months ago, I heard about these valuable pennies and thought, hey, I could use an extra $1 million. So I went full treasure hunter mode, pouring out every jar of pennies I'd stashed away over the years. I spent hours examining each one, squinting at the dates and the mint marks like I was a detective in a true crime drama. And let me tell ya, it's humbling to find out that your $1 million find is actually just a penny with a bit of pocket lint on it. But, the thrill of maybe hitting the jackpot made it totally worth it. And I'm not giving up. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll find one, and so could you. So, let's say you find a 1985 D mint mark penny that looks a little off. Here's what you do next. First, get it verified by a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can confirm if it's a rare error and, if you've really struck gold, or copper, rather, they'll grade it for you, making it easier to sell. And here's where the big bucks come in. Auction sites like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers can get you in front of collectors willing to pay top dollar. Remember, even if it's not $1 million penny, some of these error coins can still be worth hundreds or thousands. So, next time you find a penny lying around, don't just ignore it. You could be sitting on a hidden treasure. And hey, if you don't find the $1 million penny right away, don't get discouraged. Part of the fun is in the search, and who knows? You might just stumble upon something valuable. And if you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins, subscribe to the channel. Let's keep hunting those treasures together. After all, who doesn't love the thrill of a good penny hunt? Did you know you might be carrying around nearly $1 million in your pocket? That's right. One lucky little penny from 1987 is worth close to 983 grand. Sounds like I'm making it up, right? But let's break it down. Grab your penny jars because today, we're going hunting for the 1987 D Lincoln cent that could change your life. Before we dive into how this humble penny turned into gold, smash that subscribe button and let's get into it. Alright, here's the backstory. The 1987 D Lincoln cent isn't exactly rare in the way a 1943 steel penny or a 1909 SVDB penny might be. We're talking about a coin that millions of us have probably spent on gum or left sitting in couch cushions. But, and it's a big but, certain qualities can turn this everyday cent into a small fortune. Let's get technical for a minute. If you've got a 1987 D penny in pristine, nearly untouched condition, you're in business. We're talking about a grading level of MS68, almost perfect, no scratches, and with the original mint luster looking like it just rolled off the presses. That's the kind of rare gem that commands the big bucks, up to $983,000 in top condition. In the coin world, it's all about the quality. See, coins get graded on a scale from 1 to 70. The closer to 70, the better, with MS, that's mint state, 68 being almost unheard of for a 1987 penny. Most pennies get pretty beat up, they're pocket warriors, not showcase queens. But for those rare coins that stayed safe in someone's collection, the market will go wild. So, what's with the D? That little D on the penny stands for Denver Mint, where the coin was produced. Now, don't run to your penny jar just yet, thinking all 1987 D pennies are jackpots. The 983K price tag only applies to a super specific type, the highest quality MS68 example with zero visible flaws. Think of it like finding a penny that's never had a bad day in its life, no scratches, no discoloration, and that perfect minty shine that I actually had a moment with a 1987 penny myself. It was late, I'd been coin hunting all evening, convinced I was going to uncover a treasure. I finally spotted this 1987 D, my heart racing as I held it up to the light. For about 10 seconds, I thought I'd be sailing off on a yacht with that coin. But reality hit, it had dings, a tiny scratch, and, let's be honest, looked like it had survived the Great Penny War of 1987. Back to reality I went, but hey, it's still out there. And that's part of the fun, each penny has a chance to be the one. So, how can you tell if your 1987 D is worth more than $1? First, grab a magnifying glass. You want to inspect every little detail on that penny. Look for a crisp, bold design, no scratches, and a smooth, almost mirror-like finish. And that's just for starters. Next, get it appraised by a professional. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC are worth the investment if you think you have a high-quality find. They can tell you if it's an MS68 or maybe something close to it. Even an MS67 can fetch a decent price, though it won't quite hit that $983,000 level. So, there you have it. The 1987 D Lincoln penny might seem like small change, but it's got big potential. Just imagine the surprise when you cash in a penny for almost $1 million. Now that's a story worth sharing. Remember, coin hunting is all about persistence and a little bit of luck. Who knows? Maybe you'll find that diamond in the rough penny hiding in your old coin jar. And when you do, come back here and let me know, because I love hearing your success stories.
Did you know there's a Lincoln penny out there from 1988 that's worth close to $967,000? Yep, almost $1 million for a penny. Sounds like a joke, but I promise this is real. And you might even have one hiding in your car console or couch cushions. Today, we're diving into how one little 1988 penny with no mint mark could bring you a huge payday. I'll share why it's so valuable, how to spot it, and how I almost missed my chance at finding one of these gold mines myself. Stick around, because we're about to turn pennies into, well, not dollars, but hundreds of thousands of dollars. Alright, let's start with the basics. Most people think, it's just a penny, right? But the 1988 Lincoln penny is special. It's what coin collectors call a transitional error. That just means the US Mint changed up their design a little bit around this time, and a few pennies slipped through with the wrong look. If it doesn't have a mint mark, that's a good start. But here's the kicker, there's more to it than just the missing D or S on the penny. It's all about the details on Lincoln's head. Yep, even Honest Abe can help you strike it rich. Back in the day, in this case, 1988, the Mint accidentally used two different types of dies, the metal stamp that imprints the design on the penny. Some pennies have a little design on the reverse that only showed up on coins after 1989, but these rare 1988 pennies got a sneak peek of that future design. And that one tiny detail, my friends, makes it worth nearly $1 million. Talk about time travel money. So, what does this era look like? You'll want to look closely at the FG initials on the back, near the Lincoln Memorial. This specific design has a certain font and spacing that sets it apart, known as the wide AM variety. Think of it as the Mint's version of an Easter egg. Grab a magnifying glass or a really good phone camera and get up close with those initials. If it looks different, cha-ching, you're in the money, and yes, I get it, spending hours with your nose inches from a pile of pennies sounds nuts. But trust me, it's worth it. Which brings me to my story. I once had a mountain of change saved up from years of just tossing pennies into a jar. One day I thought, I should really get rid of these, and nearly took them to the bank. At the last second, my inner collector, and let's be honest, my inner cheapskate, made me check each penny for something valuable. And wouldn't you know it? Among hundreds of pennies, I found a few oddballs worth a couple $100. Sadly, no $1 million 1988 penny for me, yet. But hey, it's proof that treasures can be hiding in plain sight. Alright, by now you're probably either scrambling to find your old penny jar or eyeing your couch cushions suspiciously. And you should! Because who knows? That next 1988 penny you find could be the one. All it takes is a sharp eye and a bit of patience. And even if you don't hit the jackpot, it's still pretty fun hunting for hidden treasures. Plus, worst case? You end up with a bunch of pennies to roll up and cash in. I said penny? Imagine walking around with one of those in your pocket, and not even realizing it. Well, today, we're talking about a very special 1995 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that's been blowing up in value. I'm talking about $959,000 worth of potential. And the craziest part? You might actually have one of these sitting in a jar at home right now. So stick around, because I'm about to break down what makes this penny so darn valuable, how to spot one, and what your next steps should be if you've hit the jackpot. Alright, let's dive into the juicy details. First off, what's the deal with this 1995 penny? Well, in 1995, the Lincoln penny was being minted by the millions, literally. They were cranking these out at the Philadelphia Mint, which, by the way, doesn't add a mint mark on their coins. That's why you don't see any little letter next to Lincoln's bust on this penny. This is what we call a no mint mark Penny, not a mistake, but a classic Philly move. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Some of these pennies from 1995 have what's called a double die on the obverse side. That's fancy coin collector talk for saying there's a slight doubling of the design. It's mostly seen around Liberty and the year 1995. Basically, if you look closely, it'll seem like the letters are shadowed or a bit thicker than normal. And this little whoops in production has collectors flipping out. A clean, well-preserved version of one of these can be worth a small fortune. Imagine my surprise when I heard about this for the first time. I had to check my own penny jar immediately. I even dragged my whole family into it. I've got everyone practically running an at-home minting inspection on every penny they find now. But hey, if it's worth $959,000, it's totally worth the next strain, right? So, you're probably thinking, yeah, but what are the chances I actually have one? Well, they're not exactly common, but they're also not like 1 in a million rare either. Some estimates say there are thousands of these double-die 1995 pennies floating around. And with such a high market value, even if yours is just in okay shape, you're looking at serious cash. The key? Condition is everything. The highest values are for MS67 condition pennies. That's coin collector code for basically flawless. If it's been banged around in a pocket or gone through a washing machine, it might still be worth something, but nowhere near that sky-high number. So if you find one, handle with care. Better yet, get it looked at by a professional coin grader. They're the ones who can officially tell you if you're holding onto a dream penny or just a regular old penny. And just a tip, if you're planning on searching through your pennies tonight, which, let's be honest, you are, get yourself a magnifying glass and good lighting. Those little details can be hard to spot, and a tiny smudge could be the difference between a $959,000 collector's item and 1 cent. And if you're wondering how a penny like this even managed to be worth so much, it all boils down to the sheer fact that coin collectors love a good error. For them, it's like having a little piece of history, a little story in the form of a coin. And let's face it, $959,000 is a pretty nice incentive too. Alright, folks, I think we've all earned ourselves a good old penny check tonight. Who knew that one little 1995 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny could change your life? Imagine finding one in your pocket, and suddenly, you're holding close to $1 million. So grab your pennies, take a close look, and let me know if you hit the jackpot. And hey, if you enjoyed this coin treasure hunt, hit that subscribe button for more tips on hidden gems in your pocket change, rare coins, and ways to make money you didn't know you had. We've got more secrets, stories, and strategies coming up, so join the fun and start your own treasure hunt with every penny you find. See you in the next one, and happy hunting!